right, let me take over. Okay, so next item on the agenda is the Mayor Pro Tem. Is this a motion? Do we need to make a motion?
Yeah,
Okay.
we need a motion.
So we need a motion to approve Alex Edge as the Mayor Pro Tem.
I'll make that motion.
Second. I mean, you started me, I was going to nominate you.
So we have a second.
I'll second.
Okay, so all in favor?
Can I vote for myself?
Yeah, sure.
You can vote for yourself.
Wasn't sure I was supposed to be accused.
No, you're good. So next on the agenda is the review and the approval of the minutes of the December 4th, 2023 meeting.
Make a motion, we approve them as written.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the minutes. Is
I'll
there-
second.
Alex, second. All in favor? All right. So the next item on the agenda is the public hearing. It's the second reading of resolution to 2024-01 to adopt the fiscal year 2024 budget. Do I have to make a motion to enter?
You advertised for a public hearing.
We did advertise
Yeah,
public
You'll
hearing.
need to call for a public hearing if anybody wants to speak for or against.
Okay, so calling for a public hearing. That's it. Right, okay. And we have the agenda, or we have the budget here.
Floyd, do you mind quickly, can you just recap what was
Not at all.
refreshed in the
I don't
budget?
mind at all.
Thank you.
Okay, so what you have in front of you is a budget for revenue and expenditures as a balanced budget for $327,400. To give you an idea, sort of a snapshot, and I can go as fast or as slow as you prefer, Alex, but
Quick is fine.
okay, so this actually accounts for, I would say it's a conservative approach. Some of this will be repeated as we continue in the meeting, but we received at the end of fiscal year 2023, and when I say fiscal year, it's truly January to December, but for our purposes, we actually received 113% revenue and spent 89% of our expenses. So that's a margin roughly, what, 24%, just off the top. We do have higher expenses. We'll see that as we go through our amendment that we incurred in 23. But for your particular budget, this is what it does and doesn't do. And again, snapshots. First of all, when it comes to your employees, you have myself as your only full-time employee, you have 3 part-time employees. This is not a budget that has new employees. But what it does do is provides a 5.7% cost of living. As far as I can recall, we have not had a cost of living since I've been here. There have been periodic raises from time to time. It's important to know this cost of living is not a merit raise. It's not based on are you a good employee or bad. It is basically trying to do what we can do to shore up, what is marketable. Other municipalities would include Noonan, I understand Grantville, and I understand even the state of Georgia is looking to take similar measures. It does not include health insurance, dental, life, retirement for your employees. It does have increase to your legal fees. We had a larger legal fee than expected last year, so it did make a raise on that. We've had higher costs in payroll as far as like payroll services are concerned, IT in a box or IT services. We've had increases in GFL. As you know, last year we had the renegotiation. Custodial service, interestingly enough, actually decreased. It includes more budgeted items for the installation of pine straw twice a year. Building and maintenance increases, building and maintenance increase, by the way, would include recommendations given by Tom with regard to interior and exterior improvements at the library. Dues and fees would include $8,000 extra as requested by the Downtown Development Authority. There is no budget for festivals and holidays. Typically it was $5,000 every year. It's down to nothing because that's been turned over to the DDA. Utilities, gas, water, all of that has increased due to rising costs. And I was able to go back and reconfigure some of these numbers once we had finalized numbers for the end of 2023 and was able to, what I think comfortably say we're going to have about 16 grand in contingency. Also on the revenue side, it's kind of readjusted on a real property tax versus prior year. We show trends in our franchise fees that tend to go up on a year-by-year basis. I think we're going to exceed our loss. In fact, we exceeded loss last year. Again, I can go through a lot of different scenarios, but I think I'm going to highlight our community center rentals. Angie, who's in the audience, completely blew that out the park with our budget last year, and so that was a contributor to us being over 113%. The end of the day being is this budget on our revenues is still less than what we brought in last year. I still think I'm being conservative there. And I feel comfortable, I'm not a prophet, but I feel comfortable in saying I think we have a good working budget here. And I'll be glad to answer questions if you'd like.
Are you comfortable with this?
Yeah?
Okay. Good.
I move we accept the budget as stated, as presented.
Public comments?
Public comments,
Oh, okay.
since it is, if there are any public comments.
Is there any public comment?
And now you can close the public hearing.
Okay, make a motion to close the public hearing?
I
We
make
don't
a
have-
You know,
put on-
Oh, we just have to close
Just
it.
give
Close
us-
the public.
Perfect.
Now you're ready for a motion.
Okay, now you
Okay,
got it. I'll
motion.
make a motion that we accept the motion.
Polly has made a
as
motion.
already.
I'll second it.
Tom has the second. All in favor? All right,
Okay.
perfect. So new business, we have the resolution 2024-02 certifying the results for the town of Sharpsburg municipal election held November 7th, 2023.
Madam Mayor, what you have before you, of course, we've sworn everybody in and the election results have been certified to the town by the election superintendent. But the statute requires that those results be spread across the minutes of the town. So this is the vehicle that you adopt these results, that it's included in your resolution book and the minutes of the town.
So it's pretty perfunctory, it's just saying that you agree with the election results.
Okay,
I'll make a motion that we accept it.
so Alex made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Who did the second? Polly,
Well,
okay.
either one of them.
Polly or Cynthia? They tied.
Okay.
All in favor? All right. So the next resolution under new business is Resolution 2024-03, and it's amend the 2023 budget.
Right, so 2023 budget with
Yep.
your...
Yes, please.
This is also a requirement. This is acknowledging that on a line item basis, there were some expenses that went higher than others. And it's basically saying, it's basically my way of getting to the council that you're aware that we had some of the higher expenditures. As an example, employee benefits were up by 103%. Contracted services as tax collection, we actually took that before the council. We had to get that approved. It was like $200 and it's now $375. Some of these numbers, percentages look awful, more worse. I guess that's not proper language. They look worse than what they really are. But legal fees, certainly we had numbers of ordinances to elections, DDA formation, GFL, that drove our cost all the way through. Building and repairs, we had a sink that went out a couple of times, and So there are just expenses that we've had, and again, I can go over details if you'd like, but it's basically your acknowledgement that you understand that we did have some overages in some of our line items, and that you're understanding that, and that we're amending this particular budget and acknowledging that these were overages that were there. I think it's also important to recognize, though, that overall, aggregate, our expenses were 89% of budget. Just some of these line items went higher than others.
Was that because of underestimating what the cost would be, or did we have a number of things that just didn't?
We didn't,
Well,
the legal fees is one, we had the start of the DDA, we had the GFL contract, we had the elections.
you had double elections or two that came
Yeah.
into play. Some of this was an underestimation, some of it was inflation that hit us, some of it was you can't predict that the sink goes out or that septic goes out, it just did.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of the nature of what you get.
Stuff.
You're right, exactly. Some of it is certainly an underestimation of what the cost would have been. And some of it really is, it's just life gets thrown at you and you have to pay for it.
So this is to amend the 2023 budget?
Yes.
So we look right on paper?
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to accept.
Okay, so Alex made a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Tom has the second, all in favor? All right. The next item under new business is Resolution 2024-04. It's the North Georgia Water Management. This is, let's see, so this is something that we learned about in December. And it's basically if we were to get audited by the
But EPD,
EPD, we would have to have this on file.
And that would be a good segue into what we've run into with regard to legal expenses over this past year, is that DCA has been going through their audits, and there were a number of changes that need to be made. If you will recall that we had to make some changes in our, they identified Keg Creek as being within the watershed that goes down into the Sonoy Reservoir. And so we had to redo our environmental ordinances to be able to take care and designate that area around Keg Creek, watershed that flows down. That's part of your watershed water reservoir management program. Even though we don't have a reservoir we have the watershed here that flows into a reservoir. And there were a couple of other ordinances that DCA required us to do in order for us to maintain our qualified community standard to be able to get grants. This is another one. I kind of anticipated that we would have it because a couple other municipalities that I've been involved in, we've had to do the same thing. Now, for whatever reason, they tell us what we have to do. We have to adopt this resolution saying that we're going to adopt an ordinance if they review the resolution and find it to be appropriate. So we just attach what they sent. Staff will have to send the resolution down to North Georgia Water. They will review the resolution, review what we put in there, and we will come back to you. It may be at the next meeting. They have 60 days from when they receive it to be able to review it and comment. So it could be February. The last one we did, they got back to us in 2 days. So they won't take the full 60 days, I can see. So you'll probably see the ordinance for a first reading on your February agenda.
All right. So can I have a motion to accept the resolution?
Yeah, I'll make a motion, we accept it.
Okay, Tom made the motion. Student second. Cynthia second. All in favor? All right. The next item under new business is the calendar year 2024 meeting schedule. To review.
I have a question about it says we having work sessions. Are we having regular work sessions or call work sessions or what?
So
I
right,
think they call it something else on this, or am I mistaken?
um,
I read it this morning.
Or workshop, it's actually saying.
The workshop, yeah.
oh, okay. We're gonna do called work sessions for right now. So what do we need to do about this?
Right, so the past couple of years, you've had work sessions that happen on the third Monday generally of each month. In conversations with several of you, it doesn't seem to be that that's the desire of the town per se. So this scheduled calendar is only for your regular scheduled meetings, the first meeting as it allows on each month. You'll see when I say as it allows, for instance, September is going to be your Labor Day. You don't want to be here on Labor Day.
Right.
Right, November is going to be offset because we have an election in this room on the first Monday of the month. But in general, it's the first Monday of every month. Now, if you approve this, it doesn't mean you can't have work sessions.
Right.
What it does mean is that you would have to call them and then have a called work session. Or the council could eventually come back and amend the calendar as they see fit. And then, of course, every one of these, whether it's regular session, whether it's a special called meeting, whether, God forbid, there should be an emergency meeting. If that happens, then we would certainly go through the procedures of the Open Meetings Act and we would advertise appropriately as well. Every one of these will be. But this is giving basically you, our staff, and the public a general working idea of when we're meeting each year. That's what this is doing.
Thank you.
Should we go into the Christmas?
You
schedule
can
now?
if you wish.
Okay. So do you want to go through since you know the
This is
days and the dates?
sort of related, but it's not with your meeting calendar, but it's something that I think should be to council's attention. This year, okay, so let's lay the groundwork that every Christmas Eve and Christmas Day is a town holiday. Staff is closed. They're also not here on New Year's Day. Our typical work week is a Monday through Thursday. Your Christmas Day, or your Christmas Eve is a Tuesday, Christmas Day is a Wednesday. Okay? Which means on a normal schedule, what we would have is Monday and Thursday of Christmas week, you have staff coming in the door, and then coming in that following Monday and Tuesday, then they're off Wednesday, then they're back Thursday. Sort of right in the middle of everything, right? And so an idea, this is up to council's approval, but I would recommend that on Christmas week, we're open on that Monday. You're already closed Tuesday and Wednesday. Close us on Thursday, hard close Thursday. Followed up by Monday and Tuesday the following week. No need to come in and then break up your week. So essentially it'd be the 26th, 27th, the 30th, and 31st as approved holidays. It's a one-time thing. This is not a change to policy, but what it is acknowledging that you're having your holidays in the middle of a week and you're on a 4-day week anyway. I think that would be a way to go. It's my recommendation. And it would be my discretion at that point. If there is a need, town is always a 24/7 operation, but I don't know that I would have to bring in my staff to come in to man a particular time of year that's generally slow. And it would allow them time too to make plans with their family and be away without having to be sandwiched in. It's my recommendation.
Yeah. What do you guys think about the schedule?
I gotta look at the calendar.
Yeah, I'd like to see that too.
Now, what Floyd just gave us is an aside to what
It is an
Yes.
aside.
Yes.
It is.
we're talking about here. I mean, we're just talking about council meeting dates.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm fine with this calendar.
Same.
Are you fine with the work session being called as opposed to?
When we say call a work session or a workshop, is that something that has to be presented in a meeting?
No, without having the hard language in front of me, I believe that the mayor has discretion to call one on her own.
Okay.
Or it would be a majority of council can call one. That's how my recollection is without just looking at the document itself.
We could call one outside of a regular meeting.
Yes.
But we would have
Right.
to.
But you have to properly
Have public
advertise
notice.
it, hold a
Correct,
public
yes.
meeting,
Okay.
etc.
So this schedule also frees us up from giving public notice twice a month?
No,
No,
every meeting irrespective has to have a
Right,
public.
but we're taking workshops off. Or
We are,
workshops
but
off.
if you don't have a workshop, there's no public notice, but I want to be careful when we say it frees us up from public notices. Every one of these, every year you guys adopt a calendar, and even so, I put the calendar on the website, but even so, every time before you guys walk in the door, I put public notices out to the paper, on our website, in our meeting. Whether that's an overabundance, I think that's just the clear way to go.
But were you putting them out twice a month?
I was putting it out twice a month.
So you'll
yes.
only put out once a
It
month?
would be at this point
officially,
once unless you guys call.
Unless we call. All right, I'm clear.
So your suggested days is, you work on the 23rd, you're off the 24th, 5th, and 6th, and you work the 30th and...
I would say that we come off of the 30th and 31st as well. And our next day of resumption would be January 2nd, which is a Thursday.
So Monday and Thursday.
Right. I think it just makes sense considering.
And plus, the past couple of years, you haven't had that many people come in, right?
No.
It's dead water. I
You did,
mean,
yeah.
you're 24/7. I mean, this community center gets rented even during the holidays. So you're always going to have the potential of having to come in. But I just don't see, my personal assessment, I don't see the need to bring somebody in to have them here. The phones aren't ringing and, yeah, at that point, nobody's really trying to do town business anyway at that point in general. So it just seems to me a good gesture at least.
All right. Motion to accept the meeting schedule as proposed.
I motion.
Cynthia had the first.
I'll second.
Alex had the second. All in favor? Unanimous. The next item is the...
I'm sorry, did we get clarity on
Oh.
the Christmas thing? I don't know if you guys...
Do we need to make a motion for that? Or-
I would think it's not policy, but at least it'd be council approval, so I don't think there's any harm.
I thought it was part
Okay.
of it, yeah.
Yeah. Can I make a motion for council approval on the,
Christmas and New Year?
the holiday?
26th, 30th, and 31st as town recognized holiday.
Holiday schedule?
I motion.
Cynthia at the first.
Second.
Tom at the second. All in favor? All right. So the next item is the amended safe build agreement and the CPI rate increase.
If you'd like, I can give a
Yeah,
brief
you wanna give a
explanation on
brief?
it.
Yeah.
Sure. So whenever we brought in safe builds earlier this year, well, I should say last year at this point, this was for code enforcement, as you guys will recall. At that time, it was brought up that there would be a CPI rate increase on a year-by-year basis. This time, it's a 3.2% increase. And in your agenda, you'll see what the new rates are. The now approved budget, I don't think it'll have any material impact on us. I just don't think that's going to be anything that's going to be a problem for us here. But I do think what we can do is start taking an evaluation, see how many permits we get versus our fee schedule. And if we need to make adjustments to the fee schedule in this year, then we can certainly, at that point, bring recommendations. But I think this is pretty perfunctory. So what I would request is approval for either the mayor or myself to be able to sign this and get it over to CPI, to Safe Built.
I'll make a motion that we accept their rate increase.
Okay, Alex
I'll
made a
second
motion.
that.
Tom had a second. All in favor? All right. All right. So the next item on the agenda is old business.
There are none.
Yeah, we have nothing. Next item is public comments.
What's CPI stand for?
CPI stand for.
I'm a drunk.
Consumer price index,
CPI,
Yeah.
consumer price index.
Consumer price
Yeah,
index,
sorry.
inflation.
Yeah, it's inflation.
Anybody else? No, nothing? All right, polling of council. We'll start with you, Polly.
Yeah, I do have, anybody that's been coming to these meetings for any length of time at all knows that the library's been a topic of discussion, and I use that term loosely, for about 20 years. And it's been on my mind a lot, and over the holidays, I've started looking at sorting through some things of mine. I'm going to read this, send that down to the mayor, please. And Brad, I'll give you mine, or you can give it to Floyd when it's over. I got another one. I'm going to read it because it's long, it's kind of convoluted. There's a situation with the library committees. Well, let me go back. What I see is, and this is personal, the way I look at the records I've got. The town has had a library committee since 2018 with no members. And now we've got volunteers with no committee. And what I mean by that is on March the 5th, 2018, and Brad, that was your first meeting with us. And we had on the council at that time, Stady, Good, Parton, Puckett, Pike, and me. And Tom was working with me with this because we were trying to get the library up and running again. We didn't have members then I was on the council when we did the first committee. But we didn't do members at the time because Tom and I were meeting with people. Ms. Teagle was one of the people who was working with us. And to try to find out the level of interest that the people had so that we could pick some people for them to be members of that committee that were truly interested. And then Mayor Staley and the town clerk resigned, which left a really confusion for a while. Elizabeth was soon thereafter the mayor pro tem, or the mayor, whatever you were. And I think at that point, all this library stuff got lost in the commotion.
That part of it did.
Some part of it, that part of it, yeah, that part of it.
We kept on fixing the place up.
Yeah. And the minutes of the meeting on March the 5th, 2018 should show all of that. And by the way, the committee was unanimously approved by the council at that time. Now, at present, we've got a lot of volunteers. I think we do. We got volunteers. I won't say how many. I don't remember. But we don't have a committee that's been approved or voted on or presented to the council for approval. And I think that's all. Anyway, whatever is decided, whether the people that are on now, a new committee is made, and these people that are on now are approved, or whether you go back and use the old committee, and that these people are member of that committee, either way, the volunteers need to be sworn in, as I think, and that's what I'm going to ask Brad to do for us, please. Either way, they need to be approved by the council to be, we have a committee. Am I making sense to you? Mm-hmm. Okay, good. I just think it needs to be brought into alignment so that what I said, when we have voted on an acknowledged committee, that we also voted on and acknowledged members on that committee. That make sense? Okay. That's what I'm asking too. And I request that the town attorney check the minutes of March 5, 2018 and any other source of information to evaluate the situation and to advise the council of findings and or a solution. Now you can have my piece of paper. Ms. Teagle was here. The people who were on that committee at the time were Ms. Teagle and Tom, and Eric Richards and Dawn, the photography people down the street, Kathleen Rhodes, and Tony Brown, and maybe others. That's all I remember. Any of you may remember more.
I was there.
You on it? Okay.
Yeah, that's when we put all the books and got the table and got those pretty chairs.
Okay. I'm putting your name on it right now. This goes to you.
Open it up.
Cleaned it up, opened it up.
Mhm.
Amen.
It was actually open for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Tom?
Next. Wake up, Tom.
Tom?
I'm here. I just wanted to comment positively on the DDA's soiree out here in the parking lot a couple of weeks ago. That was really, really good. And I commend you and I thank you.
That was April.
I'm looking at her.
It wasn't just me, it was a group effort for sure. Thank you.
Well, if that's any indication of what's to come, you know, we're in for it. I mean, positively.
You're the only phone number we had, so.
I wasn't in a dog food out there.
The other thing I want to say is that we're in a position now to go ahead and move forward with the e-library
Mhm.
and with the, we need to wrestle with this roadblock we've got on having somebody come in and put some sort of security on that little one-use
Actually,
computer.
not to interrupt, I called you a couple weeks ago, maybe you didn't get it, but I have an update for you on that. We'll talk offline on that one.
Okay.
But I've got some info on it.
But we can get that done like now.
Mhm. So, yeah, I got some, we'll talk about it.
All right.
Okay.
That's all I've got.
Alex?
I'll echo Tom. Yeah, I thought the Christmas market was a huge success. That was really cool to see everybody out. I will say it was certainly reinforced, I think, our plans. I saw somewhere in here about updating the playground. I mean, I know kids will make do with what they got, but
Right.
so really looking forward to that because I saw a lot of children, you
Yeah.
know, trying to have the time of their life on what they had available. But the market was a huge success. That's what I heard from the vendors. Appreciate everybody at the DDA that
Yeah.
helped organize that and all the volunteers we had. And yeah, welcome to our members
Yeah.
that are new in our newly formed government here.
Yeah.
So welcome Cynthia and Elizabeth as the mayor.
Like I told
And
Tom.
Polly, even though I think I already welcomed you back, you took your seat in what, November?
Thank you.
But you're welcome as well.
I told Tom, I'm back.
Yeah.
That's right, welcome back, we're glad to have you.
Yeah.
That's all I got for this
Yeah.
meeing.
I got one funny thing to add.
Yeah.
I've got my first call as council member this time, and somebody had lost their cat. I thought that was kind of amusing, so I guess it's not gonna be dangerous to have my phone number
Well,
out.
the other night when the power went out about 10 o'clock, I texted Blue. I was like, what do I do? Help! Who do I call?
So I'm glad to know you're the lost animal. contact.
Apparently I've been appointed, nominated. by
All right.
Grafton.
Well, we have in our audience, Angie, who's been here, who had round up goats on the road, so there you go, Angie.
I have pictures to prove it too.
Yeah, so we've got cats and goats and I think a cow or something once upon a time. Yeah, so yeah, we're good.
So we have a administrator's report.
Yes, so there are several items that Elizabeth and I have spoken of offline that we're going to be working on. But very quickly, first of all, Elizabeth, Cynthia, Tom, congratulations. And Alex, for being Mayor Pro Tem, congratulations.
Thank you.
Based on the approval of the budget that just occurred, cost of living will go into effect immediately. We have $8,000 in the budget. We'll cut a check to the Downtown Development Authority. That'll be on our next payroll run as well. And Sage Software, which is about $900 for our annual licenses for accounting, that's also in the budget. You're going to see that, it's going to hit my credit card, but it is approved budget, so just letting you guys know, if you see a $900 charge on my credit card, that's just me taking care of our annual license fee there. Cynthia and Polly, since you're the two newest as far as terms are concerned, you are both required to go to mandatory training. The two locations are Athens and Tifton. And if you are allowing or indulgent to it, I would prefer that you guys go on March 20 through 22nd down to Tifton. The reason I say that is because the other one will be February. It's about a month earlier, and I think probably at this point hotel rooms are stored as sketchy at best. But let's get together on that, but we need to get you guys down there. We need to get you booked. We need to make sure that you have expenses to get down there, that you do have it. So I would like to see you two fairly quickly after the meeting so we can get this thing worked out, okay? Part of the funds that you currently guys have are ARPA funds, American Rescue Plan Act funds. You're going to have to spend that money or allocate it or give it back by the end of this year. Ideas are renewing the cameras and security both here and at the library, or codification. I have some other thoughts as well, but we're going to have to start nailing down what we're going to do with this money. Otherwise, we give it back. These are just ideas. We're not going to settle it tonight, but just I want to get it in your wheelhouse that we're going to have to make decisions on what to do with this.
How much is it?
Roughly 124,000. And if we don't do anything with it, we give it back. Okay? LMIG. This is an annual grant that we go for. If we don't utilize it, we have to return it. I know last year there was discussion on council about do we want to continue going for the grant or not. Heard back and forth on should we or should we not. At the council meeting a couple months ago, council's directive was go ahead and go for it. I just want to clarify with our new council, do we want to continue trying to go for this grant? Again, if we don't use the funds, we give those back as well eventually. So
We've got several years to spend that money though, don't we?
it's I want to say a 3 or 4 year period.
Yeah,
but
3 or 4
without,
years.
Yes, sir. But it's a grant that we have applied for on an annual basis, and I just want to make sure, whether we do or we don't, I want to make sure I get you guys' approval either way.
Were you looking for approval tonight?
I would like it because this will be due by the end of February. I can actually put it out on the agenda again, but the closer we get, the less time we have. So I think more direction. It's not really a vote. It's just, do you guys want me to go for this grant or not?
I'd say go for it.
Yes.
Go for it, go for it. Okay. That will mean also, Elizabeth, I'll need to get your signature on this as
Okay.
well. Okay.
Good.
Why don't you say just in one paragraph, or a couple of sentences, tell them what that is.
It's basically funding that comes from the DOT, and it's basically for street repair, street maintenance. Part of our discussions have been in the past, street striping, for instance. So it's just basically funds that are able to offset some of the expenses of the town to make improvements on our roads, essentially.
And it's based on our mileage?
Yes.
Street mileage?
Yes. Okay. Thank you, all of you, for the additional Christmas holidays. So I think it was well worth it, and I think it goes a long way as well, so thank you. Outside of that, I do have several issues that Elizabeth and I are going to be talking about and bringing forward to council. Very quickly, I have not had a chance, Polly, maybe you have. I think the street lights are back on, I think. Has anybody seen them at night?
They're on.
They are
They're
on.
back off again.
Okay, they should be on. So we found the solution to the problem. Right now, a temporary solution is in play, and that should be a resolved issue.
The one at the intersection of Main Street and Tarrentine is blinking.
So one of them's blinking, so it's bad, but the electrician is aware of it. Another one had somebody who came through with, I guess, a pellet gun and shot out the lights.
Yeah,
So
that was
they're
out.
making those repairs too. But the biggest issue was getting electricity to them, and they finally figured out the problem, and it's been resolved. Excellent.
Yeah.
And outside of that, for now I'm good, but I anticipate we'll have a lot more as meetings progress.
I got a question. Is there a warranty on that repair?
I'm sorry?
Is there a warranty on that repair?
I doubt it, but there's been no discussion on it. But that is Georgia Power who's making that repair.
Oh, Georgia Power, okay.
And outside of that, I'm good. Is there anything you think I may have missed?
Nope, we don't need to go
I want to
to,
say one thing about that. You know, we don't have a group that does repairs on any of our infrastructure, on any of our buildings. So I kind of take umbrage when somebody complains, somebody from the public complains that we're not acting quick enough. Well, we're at the mercy of any contractor that we hire to come in here.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, you know, you hire a contractor for anything, and it's going to take you several weeks. You can get them to come out here and look.
That, and also whenever we have, in this case, our electrician, who was actually out here several times, and every time it seems to roll back to Georgia Power, who would send out their person and say there wasn't a problem until they sent out their last person and said, oh yeah, here is the problem. And so we were sort of delayed by basically Georgia Power saying that they couldn't find it until they did. So you're always sort of at somebody's mercy, especially.
I'll say that in defense of the staff. That's my only point.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, yeah. We hear about it a lot, and we do take ownerage, but at the end of the day, we can only do so much ourselves.
We have some
But I
things to
appreciate
say.
that, so thank you.
we don't have executive session. Is that-
Okay, so we do have some resolutions to be signed, so before all of you leave, I need your signatures. So,
All right.
see me before we leave.
Meeting adjourned.
We have to make a motion to adjourn, don't we?
Oh, motion to
Yes.
adjourn.
I'll make that motion now.
Second. Second, all in favor? I'm ready to go.
appreciate it.